It started actually earlier on this year in around March time, when my fellow co-chair colleague, Fahmi Hanna at WHO, was in Syria, in Sana'a, supporting them. And when the pandemic was really spreading globally, COVID-19, he came up with the idea that we need to be able to communicate what's happening to children. And then we created a small team that were drawn from different agencies or organisations that are members of a group called the Interagency Standing Committee, Group on Mental Health and Psychosocial Support. And there was a small team that then created questions around what type of information children needed to know in order to help them manage the pandemic and in order to help parents manage children affected by the pandemic. So we created a short survey that went out in 6 different languages. We had about 1,700 responses from people from very different parts of the world, so from Japan, from Iraq, Syria, Yemen, but right the way across also to the Caribbean and Latin America and European countries as well. And then a group of us analysed those results and put them into a storyboard format, and we started then writing the text for the story and developing it. And parallel to this, we also had an illustrator, a person called Helen Patuk, who came in, and she also helped us write the story and then do the illustrations in relation to the story. And during this process, we also checked the story content again with children and families. So we went back to them and asked them to read short excerpts, but also to check on things like the colour used in the drawings. So what were soft colours that children would appreciate? And also just the very figure of Ario as well, was that a creature that children could relate to, could trust, and could guide them through the story. And then the book was released and printed. It was originally released just in English, and then we had 5 other language translations. They were the core UN languages, and now it's just kind of mushroomed after that. The book is now available in 130 different languages. And incredibly, the language translations are still going. It is the most translated children's storybook in history, which is a bit incredible. And I think it's testament to the fact that it was released under Creative Commons. So even though it's a product of this interagency group that is co-led by WHO and ourselves at IFRC, it's a publicly owned kind of book that we really wanted people to embrace and to be able to take it and to adapt it to their particular settings. And it's a book that we want to be able to give children and their parents. So it doesn't just exist as a book now. And I think that's also the beautiful thing about the product. The content is there in the book, but there's been multiple spin-offs. We now also have more audiovisual content in the form of an animation. One key thing that we learned from developing the children's book, My Hero Is You, is that you have to do this continuous feedback and consultation with your end user, if I can use that terminology. So the person that's actually physically going to read or use your product or your tool. So don't design it and then go out and test it, because that's actually just validation. People want to be involved in the process from the very beginning. This more kind of, to use like design thinking, more the co-creation type process. It now exists in multiple formats, and there's a whole there's 2 websites actually, one that has all the language translations and then one that has all the different country level adaptations. And some of them are very simple. It's literally somebody just reading the story text. It could be a member of a royal family, as has been done in some of the European countries, or an actor, a famous actor in that country. Or it can be additionally creative, as I said, with like radio dramas or puppet plays, or shouting it out on loudspeakers in the camps in Cox's Bazar, for example, in Bangladesh.